This is how you make a really intimate vocal for an indie folk song.
Searching for the answers to questions that you've had for years and years.
Okay, so let's break down step by step what I did to mix this vocal. First off, I have a limiter to control some of the peaks coming into my mixing chain here.
Searching for the answers to questions that you've had for years and years.
So this is a pretty gentle limiter here. You could use a clipper or a more of a brick wall limiter. It just depends on the sound that you're going for. I didn't want to use the clipper. I didn't want that sound of using a clipper. So I just went with a limiter here just to control some of those super hard peaks that ended up coming in from the recording. Next up in my chain here is a analog modeled compressor. I like using these because they add some tone, some extra character to your mix. They add overtones or harmonic distortion, as well as, compressing it according to however the original analog circuit was modeled. So let's hear it with this on.
Searching for the answers to questions that you've had for years and years.
So I have that pretty heavily compressed. So let's add what's next here. We have some multiband compression.
Searching for the answers to questions that you've had for years and years.
That helped make my vocal a little bit brighter and controlled some of those S's and T's. Next up, we have some dynamic EQ here.
Searching for the answers to questions that you've had for years and years.
And as you can see here, there's a pretty steep cut going on around 5K. And all of this is unique to my vocal. That's just where my S's sort of almost become a whistle. And I really had to duck those down in order to control those.
Searching for the answers to questions that you've had for years and years.
Yeah, so I was really going for sort of a Sufjan Stevens, just kind of a controlled vocal here, something that was just sort of staying in one place. All right, next up I have a de-esser.
Searching for the answers to questions that you've had for years and years.
And this is the T de-esser. This is a pretty cool plugin. This is the free version, and it offers the ability for you to hear exactly what's going on with this difference button. So if you can hear that, that's pretty cool. It's only taking out some of the S's and the T's and just helping control those. Next up, I have some pitch correction.
Searching for the answers to questions that you've had for years and years.
And as you can see, it's on the slowest setting here. I didn't need a ton of pitch correction, but I like using it. It adds a bit of its own sound and just helps control some notes, bring things a little bit more into key. And next we have some non-dynamic, just sort of a surgical, transparent EQ.
Searching for the answers to questions that you've had for years and years.
I boosted some of these mids because I really wanted an intimate radio sort of sound, and we're going to get into some more of that in a second here. And lastly, we have an analog modeled EQ.
Searching for the answers to questions that you've had for years and years.
And an analog modeled EQ adds its own character, adds some subtle harmonic distortion, changes the phase, does unique things to the audio. It's just each EQ, each analog modeled EQ is just slightly different and adds its own little flavor. So right here I have a Stereo Touch plugin. This is just delaying either the left or the right channel to create a stereo image out of a mono track. So I want you to hear how much just a little bit of stereo flavor really just opens up this vocal.
To questions
That's with it on.
that you've had for years and years.
It almost adds like a slapback delay sort of feel to it. So next here I have some more analog modeled EQ.
Searching for the answers to questions that you've had for years and years.
And we're really boosting some of the mids there. I was really going for a very intimate sounding vocal. I would not do this on a hip hop track, a pop track. This is very unique to this track. I was just going for a very intimate feel, and I think that helps tell the story of the song here. So now we have the Thrill Seeker plugin. This is a sort of saturated EQ plugin. I have the Mojo turned all the way up here. This just does like some analog circuit stuff and just adds a unique flavor to it.
Searching for the answers to questions that you've had for years and years.
I have some of the lows, some of the mids boosted. I left the highs just like they were. And the drive in Mojo I have almost all the way up. And that just adds some character to the sound here. Next up we have a channel strip plugin. This is adding some of the tone, saturation, just the feel that would come from using analog gear. We can add it back in because all I'm using here is the Focusrite Claret interface, and it's an extremely clean interface. It doesn't really add anything to the signal. So we're going to add some character into this with a channel strip plugin.
Searching for the answers to questions that you've had for years and years.
So this is just adding some preamp distortion to the signal here. I'm not adding much. It's very light. And I haven't adjusted any of these EQs. It's just adding some more flavor to this vocal. I didn't want a clean sounding vocal. I wanted something that was really rough. So this is helping me get that. This is the Stereo Tool plugin. This is a really cool plugin. It's just helping boost the width of this track some more.
Searching for the answers to questions that you've had for years and years.
Okay, some of the last things I did here was I added a guitar pedal plugin, basically. This is Guitar Rig. And so I'm running both the guitars in this song as well as the vocal through this Guitar Rig plugin. And this is adding another vintage feel to the vocal as well as the rest of the track.
Searching for the answers to questions that you've had for years and years.
So as you can hear in there, there's like a plate reverb sound going on. And there's also all the other things in here. The cabinet feel is definitely going to add a unique sound to this. Running the vocals through a cabinet as well as the guitars and stuff is just going to give it that live vintage sort of feel. And lastly, I have some reverb and delay going on.
Searching for the answers to questions that you've had for years and years. I really hope this time.
All right, so let's hear it all together again.
Searching for the answers to questions that you've had for years and years. I really hope this time will read a different story, one with sunshine and no more pouring. Flip the page, I'm ready for the happy ending. No more pain, no more tears, no suffering, just home. Finally, I'm home. Hey, I'm home.
All right, hope you enjoyed. And if you need help with any of your mixes or masters, just shoot me a DM. I'd love to do a mixed and mastered free sample for you, just so you can get an idea of our work. Thanks for watching.